The Green Bay Packers go on the road to face their NFC North Division rival Chicago Bears this weekend in a big game for both teams. Green Bay is currently installed as a 3-point favorite on BETDAQ. 43 is the total. The Packers actually lead the North now by a game over the Bears. Remember, Chicago had led the division for most of this season. They were 7-1 at one point, but the Bears have lost 4 out of their last 5. They seem to be in the midst of another late-season collapse. They're now tied with Seattle for the final wild card spot in the NFC. I mean, incredible as it may have seemed a few weeks ago, the Bears could actually miss the playoffs. They're going in the wrong direction. And Green Bay's won 11 straight division games, including a game earlier this season against Chicago. Green Bay dominated that game 23-10. Jay Cutler had a bad Jay Cutler game. Jay Cutler's been prone to meltdowns throughout his career, prone to multiple interception, multiple sack games. That's exactly what happened in September when Green Bay won, as we said, 23-10. Now, a lot of that can be blamed on the Chicago offensive line. The Bears have a bad offensive line. They've struggled in pass protection really for the last couple of years, and they've struggled particularly against these Green Bay Packers. They cannot keep Clay Matthews off of Jay Cutler, and Matthews is back this week from a hamstring injury, so we'll see. We'll see if it's good Jay Cutler, bad Jay Cutler. I think we're going to see a very conservative game plan from the Chicago Bears coaching staff. They're going to try to take the ball out of Jay Cutler's hands. The Bears have had their most success this season when they've done just that. I mean, Chicago was 27th in the league in pass yards per game. That might surprise you because a lot of the talk this season has been about the acquisition of Brandon Marshall, who's been running off his mouth this week, talking about how he hates the Green Bay Packers and he's going to play this game like it's the last game of his life. So we'll see if he can back some of that talk up. But a lot of the talk has been about Brandon Marshall and the explosiveness he's added to the offense, and there's been some of that, no doubt about it, but the Bears pass for less than 200 yards per game. I mean, the strength of this offense has been the running game. Matt Forte, Michael Bush, they've been a top 10 rushing offense all year. And Green Bay, even though they've made strides on defense this season, they can be run on. And I expect the Chicago Bears, I don't think Jay Cutler is going to throw the ball more than 30 times in this game. I think it is going to be a conservative run-based game plan for the Bears on Sunday. And quite frankly, I think that's their best opportunity of winning this game. Now, the Bears do have a great defense, as we know. Brian Urlacher, their middle linebacker, the captain, he missed the last game. He sustained a hamstring injury on the next to last play in their loss against the Seattle Seahawks a couple of weeks ago. He'll be out again this week. Urlacher, even though he can't run like he used to, has been great in run support this year. He's still excellent against the run. And Chicago's third in points allowed, fifth in total defense. So they force more turnovers than any defense in the league. And the Green Bay Packers, their reputation is exceeding what they actually are on offense this season. Green Bay 17th in the NFL in yards per game. They are 10th in points scored, but they've shown very little of the explosiveness that has been their trademark the last couple of seasons. I mean, last year Green Bay averaged 35 points per game. This year they've only topped 31 points once. And it's a little bit mystifying. Green Bay, they don't have a very good offensive line themselves. That's part of the problem. Greg Jennings missed most of the season, but Jennings is back now. Still, Green Bay, the last couple of games, they have lacked explosiveness. The last game, even though it was in the elements against Detroit, Aaron Rodgers only 173 passing yards. Green Bay did win that game, and they've won most of their games this season. As we said, 9-4. But I think, it has to be worrying. I would be concerned if I was a Green Bay fan that this offense now through 14 weeks of the season, I mean, they are what they are. They're just not that good. Green Bay, they look like a solidly average team when you watch them play, and the stats back that up. 17th in the NFL in both total offense and total defense. And you look at this game, and to me it sort of sets up for a Chicago play. A home underdog. Green Bay's won 11 straight division games, as we said. It feels like they're almost due to lose a game. I know, you could have made that argument for the last 4 or 5 of the Packers division games, I guess. Well, they're due to lose. They've won 7 division games in a row, or 8 division games in a row, 9 division games in a row. So that's really invalid. But, to me, it feels like when I first saw this line, I thought, well, Chicago might be a sneaky home underdog here. But more I think about it, I just don't see it. Even though I've not been impressed with Green Bay this year, I don't think they're near as good as they've been the last 2 seasons, and I don't think they're a legitimate Super Bowl threat. The Chicago Bears, I believe, are on the way down, and it would not surprise me if the Chicago Bears ended up missing the playoffs, if either Minnesota or the St. Louis Rams, whoever wins the game between those 2 teams this Sunday, snuck in and got in past the Bears. I don't know. I know the Bears, they catch a break. They play the Arizona Cardinals next week, who can't beat anybody. But then they go on the road and play Detroit in Week 17. So We'll see if the Bears can hang on here. I don't have much faith in them Sunday here against Green Bay. I do like the Packers -3. Another thing I want to mention, even though the total of 43 here feels a little low, these two teams almost always play under football. The last 10 times these two teams have played, the under is 9-1, and they play twice a year. I mean, they play all the time, obviously, their division opponents. And the under is 4-0 in Green Bay's last 4 games overall. Again, I think that speaks to the fact that Green Bay still has a big reputation on offense based on what they've done the last couple of seasons. They just haven't been a great offense this season, and we're through 14 games now. So even though 43 sounds a little low, you might want to take a look at the under here, and I do like Green Bay -3.